The Souvenir is a 2019 film directed by Joanna Hogg. The film stars Anna Swinton-Byrne and Tom Burke, two actors I've actually never seen in film before. I know Tom Burke was in Only God Forgives, but I actually have never seen that film. Joanna Hogg is pretty low-key at the moment, I would say. I looked through her filmography. She hasn't got many films under her belt so far. And this seems to be her breakthrough film anyway, because it's getting quite a lot of rave reception at the moment, especially from like film festivals and stuff, and from indie film critics. And essentially the film follows a fairly young girl, probably like, I don't know, early 20s. She's a film student. She's quite shy. She's trying to make her way into the film industry. And she gets into a relationship with this older man who seems quite troubled, seems quite strange, just doesn't have a very particularly trustworthy aura around him. And the film essentially follows the relationship of these two people, and I'm kind of conflicted on this film. I think this film started off so well, but the direction just lost itself. The film just slowly started to fizzle out as it went on, and it just got less interesting the more I watched. I just honestly struggled to find myself invested in the main character. I thought, again, Anna Swinton-Byrne was great at the beginning. I thought she just played the role really well. I thought the interesting elements of the relationship were being shown on screen, but then as the film went on, I just feel as though Joanna Hogg just kind of lost her way a little bit. The interesting elements that were there from the start just weren't there anymore. I just really couldn't find myself engaged in the story. Tilda Swinton is in this film, actually. She plays a very minor role, which is a bit of a shame, because she's honestly one of the better actors working around today, I'd say. She's just incredibly versatile and impressive, and anytime she was on screen, I did enjoy watching her in the film, but her minor role doesn't really add much to the film overall. There are some interesting scenes in regards to their relationship that do get shown, though, as I mentioned. Like, you'll have one scene where they're in the middle of an argument, but then the next scene, it's not immediately after, but they're getting quite romantic and intimate, and I think that was kind of good to show that, because even in like stable relationships, that can be very common. Like, you're just completely at your worst moments, but then the best moments don't come too far after that. And another thing I really did enjoy about this film, well, maybe not enjoy, that's not the right word. The one thing that intrigued me about this film was how you could never fully read Tom Burke as a character. Like, he played his performance quite well. Like, there was this sense of dread just watching him on screen. Like, I couldn't tell what he was going to do, what his motivations were. He does some really weird things in the film that you would probably think were a major red flag. Like, why she, stuck by him throughout some of the things was very weird to me. But even without that, like, you just kind of watch him, and he just has this weird look about him. You just kind of thinking, like, where's this going? What's this guy going to do? Who is this guy? And again, those kind of elements, I think Joanna Hogg just sold incredibly well, but like, I don't know, by the time at the end of this film, it just felt like I'd been sitting through like a 2-hour, 45-minute film, man. I was bored. A pretty weak criticism, I must say, saying you're bored during a film. It doesn't really add much description, but like, I think with all the good things about this film, to then just get to the end and feel that way just only goes to show like how this film was just really a film of two halves. I think the most recent comparison that can be made with this film, and I have already seen it a few times just within like reviews I've read throughout like the time this film has been out, is that it is sort of similar to something like Phantom Thread by Paul Thomas Anderson. If you haven't seen that film already, it's a very similar type of premise where you've got, these two people that fall in love, but then the relationship just sours over time. The toxicity kind of starts to break through, and it's not as it's not as like special or as romantic as it once was. And I think that what that film did really well was just like the progression of the relationship. Like you saw things kind of slowly get worse, but with this film, it just kind of meanders in and out of like those types of scenes, and you watch her in the scenes where she's like doing her film stuff, and it just isn't really that engaging or interesting. So yeah, I mean, I was definitely looking forward to this, and I definitely think a lot of people are going to love it. So take my opinion with a pinch of salt, obviously. If you disagree with what I said, that's fine. But for me, this film just lacked a lot of bite. I'm going to go 5 out of 10. Didn't really get much out of this film, honestly, unfortunately. But let me know your thoughts on this if you've seen it. Definitely a big disappointing film for me for the year. Could have been way better than it was, but unfortunately it just wasn't. Thank you for watching my review and listening to what I have to say. And goodbye. Have a good day. Goodbye.